too bright, folks. Not too fucking bright. But if you talk to one of them about this, if you isolate one of them, you sit them down rationally, you talk to them about the low IQs and the dumb behavior and the bad decisions, right away they start talking about education. That's the big answer to everything. Education. They say we need more money for education. We need more books, more teachers, more classrooms, more schools. We need more testing for the kids. And you say to them, well, you know, we've tried all of that, and the kids still can't pass the test. They say, don't you worry about that. We're going to lower the passing grades. And that's what they do in a lot of these schools now. They lower the passing grades so more kids can pass. More kids pass, the school looks good, everybody's happy, the IQ of the country slips another 2 or 3 points, and pretty soon all you'll need to get into college is a fucking pencil. Got a pencil? Get the fuck in there. It's physics. Then everyone wonders why 17 other countries graduate more scientists than we do. Education! Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start? Left behind? Someone's losing fucking ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long, when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Alright, I wanted to go over a few things in this video here. For some of you who are wondering what happened to faceless propagandists with the previous video that I've uploaded, I suspect it probably I don't know, I can't really give any information on what happened to his channel, because I don't know. But I suspect, judging from the description he's given, he is falling victim to the same program Do I hate my family? No. Do I hate the people who did me wrong? No. No. One of the things I've realized, basically going through these past few years, you know, the enemy is going to use various different things. It's going to use hate. It's going to use lust. It's going to use jealousy. It's going to use pride as well too. All of these things seek to chain us down. And even if you're not looking at this from a spiritual perspective, it's still there in some way, shape, or form being used against us, all of us. We gotta find that, you know, the inner strength that we're given since our creation. That's gonna help us to fight against this stuff. More strongly, united. Never forget that the enemy is seeking to do a lot to isolate people. It's seeking to do a lot to separate everybody, to prevent them from, you know, combining their strengths up to being able to get things done far more than they would be able to alone. I've learned a lot through these past few months, and getting closer just about every day on finding new methods of detoxification, new methods of being able to block this stuff and other things. But at the same time, you got to be self-aware that this technology and the people behind it who are pushing it, you know, upon us. This stuff has the capabilities of adaptation. So any type of shielding, anything that you may find that may be like, you know, just on the fly or something that's been invented, they're going to try to find ways to get through that. One of the things I wanted to discuss on this video is that the clothing that you may be wearing on your back, one of the problems with clothing when it comes to these directed energy weapons or whatever it is that they're using is the fact that this clothing is conductive. Some of you may not even be aware, or even, you know, this may not even have crossed your minds. But if you've looked at the tags of a lot of the clothes, not just the clothes, but the sheets, all types of bedding, blankets, and whatnot, a lot of this stuff, the majority of it is coming from China. And of course, it's not always going to be coming from China. You know, you got different stuff coming from different places like Indonesia, other places like even the Philippines, many other different locations. But the problem is that the majority of clothing that's out there on the market, on the shelves, and what I mean by that is for where you to be able to walk to and purchase, all of it's going to be most likely be conductive, right? So the thing about that is, from my understanding, something that's already conductive is something that's going to basically be able to heighten the effects of this directed energy weapon that's basically making its way to compromise your person. If you're drinking a lot of sugar, you know, if you're eating a lot of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, which I highly recommend people to stay away from, it's going to heighten the effects of this stuff. If you're around a lot of devices, it's going to channel out a lot of, you know, negative EMF frequencies around you. Don't ever go into a fair cage with devices, because otherwise, you know, those frequencies will just have nowhere to escape, and they'll just be bouncing around all over the place. I've been able to have this tinnitus thing taken care of and cut off, where I don't even hear it before. The minute we turn on a device or get near one to where I'm using it, it almost instantaneously starts to pick back up again. Now, there's a number of things that can easily do this: cell towers, smart meters, a whole bunch of other things. I want to everybody's getting through this some kind, as best they can. It's not easy getting through any of this. Most people don't understand this one simple situation. I've noticed a lot of infighting on various channels. I'm not going to call out no names. There's been a lot of various things being tossed around. People calling others fake TIs and whatnot, or other things, or whatever, you questions, concerns, which is understandable. But you got to keep in mind these two different things, right? You're going to have people out there who are pretending to be target individuals, as well as you're going to have actual target individuals out there who are in need. You can never forget people. A lot of us who try to go and keep a job, it's not easy at all. I've been basically workplace mob for 4 years of the job I had, and they were relentless. I got harassed at the job. I got harassed at the grocery store when I was walking from the grocery store, even at home. It was a never-ending thing, and even whenever I wasn't even getting, physical stalking or harassment, it was the effects with the directed energy weapons, or the manipulation that they were using with this technology, a lot of stuff that was going on, sleep deprivation, the whole 9 yards. The biggest issue though is that there are going to be TIs out there who don't even have a job, basically don't have anything because they've had so much taken away. This program just doesn't seem to stop. They don't care whether you have a family to feed. They don't care even if it's just yourself and you don't have you don't have a legitimate family of your own, like no wife or no kids. They will literally do this to you all the way up until you're on the street, no food, and homeless. And this system will continue to just keep taking as much away as possible, destroying, tampering, destroying relationships with family and whatnot. If my family is watching this, I want them to know I have no ill towards you. I don't. This AI seeks to corrupt the minds of a lot of people, both men, women, including, and children are not excluded from this. It's so messed up when you really figure this stuff out. People's lives are just immediately compromised, and the amount of unfairness is just unbearing. Because another human being does not have the right to basically judge or even command the life of another. That's up to the creator, the creator of which, of course, if you look, whatever you're looking at, these imitators or their false idol wishes to imitate. I've said it before and I say it again. I got away from technology in order to get closer to the creator, because you're getting closer to nature. It's the same thing as getting close to what's more natural. Getting closer to this tech-wise stuff, man. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about it or seen it, but they already are talking about like the multiverse or the I think it was metaverse. A lot of this stuff I've looked at, man, talking about how create an avatar, have like a digital self and all this crap that's going on. And then you have that scenario that happened at that concert that a lot of people have a lot of questions for. There's a lot of confusion. Some people know the answers, but not everybody knows the answers, because of course you ain't going to be able to see everything. You're not going to let the obviously be exposed unless someone has a heart of gold out there who actually does release the news that wasn't meant to be seen by the general public. I've seen a lot of beauty in this world, through my travels. I've seen a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to see just by being stationary in the same area. I wish a lot of you could actually have seen the things I've seen. Minus this targeting, of course. gonna end this video here. There's not really much I wanted to go over. If you're wondering, this is a photograph from one of the areas we had visited. You can tell looking at the canyon there. It seems like that you would only think you would see in a movie, but this stuff, a lot of these places are actually real. You know, you gotta be able to see it to believe it. You see it on the TV screen, you think that a lot of people don't really think much of those locations until they actually get to see it with their very own eyes. It's a really big world out there, but at the same time, you know, we all are growing, we all are changing every day. There's going to be goodness attracted to that change, but it's not always going to be goodness that is attracted to it. Corruption, deceitfulness, betrayal, every type of ill-begotten thing, the rebelliousness that exists within this world is going to seek to basically try to convert any of us to what its interest is. But we have the right to say no to this. All of us do. And with that, I wish you all the best. As always, stay safe out there, stay strong.
For God's sake, don't touch it.
Dad, what's wrong with the telly?
Good evening, London. Allow me first to apologize for this.
The emergency channel.
I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of the everyday routine, the security of the familiar, the tranquility of repetition.
Bloody hell.
I enjoy them as much as any bloke. But in the spirit of commemoration,
Who's that, Mum?
whereby those important events of the past, usually associated with someone's death or the end of some awful bloody struggle, are celebrated with a nice holiday, I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Let me think, just let me
I
think.
suspect even now, orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way.
It's Chancellor Sutler.
Damn it.
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir. You wanted it foolproof. You told me every television in London.
Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity and soliciting your submission.
We need cameras.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. There were a myriad of problems which conspired to... Fear got the best of you, and in your panic you turned to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler. He promised you order, he promised you peace, and all he demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent.
Inspector, you're almost through.
Last night, I sought to end that silence. Last night, I destroyed the Old Bailey to remind this country of what it has forgotten. More than 400 years ago, a great citizen wished to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives. So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.